should be fine, yeah?
Yeah.
But it'll fade out anyway. Welcome to the episode, TLGMMA podcast, episode number 9, with your host, Tyson Lee Griffin, your audio tech engineer, JT, and guest, again, Derrick Easterling. What's up, Derrick? How you doing?
Doing good, man. How's everything with you?
It's good, man. Just chilling. How you doing, JT?
Pretty good. I ate well today.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
JT was on a little bit of a intermittent fast routine for a while and not eating so much in the mornings. He realized that it's time for him to start eating again in the mornings. And I'll just share just in general about intermittent fasting. I know it's super trendy and popular now, and I've got some experience with it too. And what it comes down to is intermittent fasting can be really good to sort of empty out your system when you're too full. You know, the average American that's, overweight, they can probably intermittent fast for a very long time. But as we lean out, we get super lean. We got to be careful doing too much intermittent fasting and too much long period fasting. You don't want to, if you're an athlete or just an everyday person who's getting after it, you got to really be careful letting your body fall into nutritional deficits, if you will. And a lot of people in nutritional deficits because they don't have good nutrition, period. Now on the flip side of that, you just got to make sure that if you're doing fasting, intermittent fasting, etc., you do listen to your body if you start getting hungry and craving. And if you want to push yourself into, that sort of ketosis and really learning to burn off the fat, that's a whole nother thing. But for folks that are a little bit, getting up in age or older, I'll just be honest, I'm a little smaller, right? I like to have my muscle on me. And when I had my nerve damage, I lost a lot of muscle. So as far as gaining muscle, keeping muscle, I keep my nutrition going, keep my carbs in me, keep my protein in me, keep my fat in me. And I be careful with the intermittent fasting. It can keep you super sharp, right? So again, it's just building a relationship. Use the intermittent fasting to teach you, oh man, I am super sharp when my body's not full of food. So maybe I need to eat less food in the mornings. I believe the sort of standard giant American breakfast is, a little bit out of balance. Back in the days when everybody was settling, and like the old school cowboys, they get up before the sunrise, they get out, they work their ass off. Maybe they were doing that off just a little bit of coffee and a little bit of jerky or whatever they had.
Some chew.
Or chew, yeah. Tobacco. Tobacco is good for coffee. Tobacco is good for linear thinking. Apparently, coffee and tobacco is the writer's drug. But anyway, after that hard ass working morning, then they came in and ate that big old breakfast, sausage and gravy and grits or whatever you want to call it. But they're working their ass off and they're gonna be burning that stuff and needing to put that back on again. And I don't think there were any fat cowboys back in the day, So
and what do you think of because I get this question from students and clients, using intermittent fasting to lose weight or a fighter that's going into fighting I'm gonna fast because I need to cut weight. And
I think intermittent fasting, like I said, it's great for windows and specific things. I don't think it's great for a lifestyle, right? I don't think it's great for super long period. Just like being a vegetarian, being vegan, certain things like that, they have a place and a purpose, but eventually we got to get back to that balance of eating a little bit of everything, eating breakfast, breaking that fast from that sleep. And for me, I try not to eat too late at night, but I also got to make sure I have some food at night, because if I don't eat too late at night, or rather if I stop eating too early in the evening, I'll wake up in the middle of the night hungry.
Oh, dude, I
don't have enough food to get through the night.
Dude, yeah. If I don't eat
muscles
enough,
are always hungry. Yeah.
At night, I have restless nights of sleep. I'm tossing and turning.
For sure. And so you're talking about with athletes or fighters, we've been fasting and doing intermittent fasting forever with wrestling, right? Now it's trendy and a thing, but that was actually something that I really liked about cutting weight, because I was you do get really sharp, you get really clear. I actually would try to fight with an empty stomach and an empty system. Right? I would say that what's important as far as pre-workout or whatever, as far as, like nutrition for a fight or whatever it might be, it's what's in your blood. That's why your meal the night before, that's your most important meal. The pre-workout or whatever, that's just going to help you if you somehow burn through all that stuff that's in your blood that you ate the night before. You should have your energy stored up and feeling good and strong in your blood, ready to go. And then if you have a long workout or whatever, eat a little bit, have something going through me, so it's going to be digesting a little bit. But be careful eating too much, because digestion is the hardest thing the body does. So the body's trying to digest food and fight, right? If you see like National Geographic, you watch all these wild animals fighting. They're shitting, they're pissing, they're fighting.
As they're going.
Yeah, because it can't do all that. It's like, get this shit out, bro. It's life or death. Like, the snake will vomit out whatever it's trying to swallow. Whatever wild animals will be shitting, because it's just in the way. So that's where, when it comes to jiu-jitsu or grappling and getting folded up and twisted around. So now, this is the funny part, because I learned that there's also a balance of it, right? So if my system's completely empty, we don't have anything that actually is providing some support. So our large intestines actually, and like having food in our intestines, actually creates some structure and stability through our body and our spine, right? So if we have maybe back injuries or really unstable ribs or hips or joints, and we're super empty and nothing in us, and we get super hot, we're competing or training, then maybe some of those things can slip and move out of place because they don't have that pressure from the digestive wall sort of keeping everything in there.
So it'd be more prone to injuries. Mm-hmm. God damn.
And that's the benefit of, like, the overeating bodybuilders or strongmen dudes. They're always eating in full, right? You see these crazy videos of people lifting weights and throwing up and stuff. Well, so technically they're always full. It's keeping their core braced, right? But they're not actually...
A keg.
Yeah, they got the keg, right? But they're not actually learning how to brace their core, right? Learning how to really brace your core is you actually learn how to inhale through the belly first and fill that up with air. They call it intra-abdominal pressure. Uh-huh. Having intra-abdominal pressure, apparently, this is from my studies at the Czech Institute, it takes 12 to 36% of the load off of your spine, off of your back, right? And it puts, creates that pressure, which creates that support. But again, without that pressure, if you're just relaxed and squatting or something, then some of that pressure is not going to go to your spine. So that's why the importance of bracing the core. Inhaling, and then you want to make sure you draw your belly in. That's your natural weight belt, right? You don't actually want to completely push out into the weight belt with the lower part of your stomach, because now you're not engaging your transverse abdominis, your deeper inner stability muscles. But ribs up top can be flared out. Draw the belly in, get your lift in, and that creates that intra-abdominal pressure. And that's the benefit of it. And then again, so yeah, too little food, maybe you get folded up and not be good. So you got to find that balance. And that's our holistic approach. Everybody's got to find really what's best for them. We can all have examples and experiences, and and there's something with the scientific research, looks like I was saying, that it literally takes 12 to 36% of that pressure off your spine. So that's stuff we have to bounce off, that I really like about the Czech Institute, is learning that holistic approach matches up with the science. It goes back and forth, and it's like a check and a balance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, versus just, it worked in this one study here one time. Now we'll take that as, intermittent fasting is the thing. Oh, fuck yeah, that's my new life.
Yeah, it's the trend, or it's popular.
And that's why you gotta be careful going into anything too much. Again, the right time, the right place, and then get back to eating, balanced whole foods, 2 to 3 meals a day, etc.
I think it also goes down to like knowing your body and knowing how your body responds to certain foods, right? Like,
and that's why all these diets are important, because then you can learn how your body responds to certain foods. But people don't usually take it as that. They're actually hoping and praying and believing that this intermittent fasting thing is the new thing. It's the new way, and it's a deeper thing. People have to really learn this. And I learned this from coaching. It's so much deeper than just losing weight, because it's the stories behind the weight loss, right? Oh, if I do this intermittent fasting diet and I lose this weight, then I'll be able to maybe find the partner that I want, then I can have kids, then I can be married, then
The
my mom and my dad will
ties.
be happy because I'll have a fucking family finally, and I won't have to hear them bitching anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or whatever it might be, you never know. It's the story behind the story behind the story. Like, keep getting deeper and deeper and deeper. And that's kind of the holistic approach as well, is figuring out the root cause, you know. Most people, what they're dealing with is a symptom. The overweight stuff, it's a symptom. Eating too much and not being able to, you know, put the fork down, or eating the wrong foods too much, that's a symptom. And that's what I've learned, you know. These conditions or these diseases are actually symptoms. And disease, the definition is deprived of comfort. Dis meaning deprived of, ease being comfort.
Damn.
And I learned that from my Ayurvedic book. And yeah, that's so that I used to have a hard time hearing people tell me I had diseases or believing in that. But now that I learned that that's what it is, diseases can manifest when we have deprived of comfort for too long in certain areas, but diseases can also get reversed and go away. Diseases are not a lifetime sentence like some systems have wanted us to believe, that you have this disease for a lifetime, now you need these pills for a lifetime, and you need this money to be able to afford these pills, or you need this insurance. Like, no, you know, that's the truth.
It can definitely change.
Yeah. And so for me, like, 100% honest truth, like, I had nerve damage. It really fucked with my brain and my psyche and my soul, like, trying to figure out if I can become, you know, what I used to be again. And I did enough research, and what it comes down to, let's just say this. People that get paralyzed for life, right? Someone in the worst car accident you can think, they're in a wheelchair, they're you know, granted there's some exceptions, but someone that's paralyzed, quote unquote, for life. If the human being lived 1,000 years, that person would actually heal again. It's just that these nerves take so long to heal, and the predicted lifespan of a human, they say, oh, you're paralyzed for life, right? And there used to be an old fad or an old trend or an old idea that we only have so many brain cells and nerves, and like, we're going to get them all bashed and smashed, and eventually they're gone, you're dead, you know.
Yeah.
Well, that's not true anymore. We're learning there's things like neurogenesis that can regrow neurons, regrow new nerve cells, and all that stuff. So putting all that stuff in my sort of brain and my soul and my psyche, now I'm like, oh, there is hope, right? I might not live 1,000 years, but I'm not paralyzed, you know, like from the waist down or whatever, like other people. And if you are in that situation, I'm so sorry to hear that. I know it's not fun. I've woken up many nights and not felt good. I've literally, you know, granted, if someone's paralyzed, they weren't getting up like me, but true story, there are nights where I'd get up to go to the bathroom and I'd take a step and I'd literally fall over. And just proprioception, balance, nerves, everything was just not what I thought it was sometimes. So,
God damn.
Yeah, getting through that stuff and learning to breathe into all of it, sort of massage into all of it, and make it a lifestyle to help regenerate nerves holistically. I got this book up here. Where is it at? Neurogenesis Diet and Lifestyle by Brant Courtright up there. And I basically decided to use the, I guess we'll grab it on camera real quick. There are some approaches that are not holistic, but I basically chose to, the glare, terrible. There we go. Hey man, I gotta figure this shit out as we go, bro.
Yeah.
Just winging it.
Step-by-step process.
But yeah, I chose to focus on the holistic stuff that I found in here, that I knew I could do, that was cheap, that I could afford for the rest of my life. Things like getting up with the sun, you know, going to sleep when the sun's down, not getting too much artificial light, staying connected to the earth, having non-toxic food, having non-toxic relationships. This is where I learned toxic relationships will kill your recovery and kill your healing.
Damn.
So, I used to have a concept: if you can't change your surroundings, change the way you respond.
Mm-hmm.
That was my sole belief. Well, unfortunately, you can't completely change the way you respond to everything, right? If you're living in a very traumatic and toxic environment, it's really hard to become a freaking Zen monk. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it can happen, But that's what I've learned, at this book at least, I need to get myself in places and spaces and communities that are not toxic, that are healthy and supportive and loving, not angry, not, sort of unconscious disconnection. Everyone's sort of projecting energy onto each other,
Mm-hmm.
People that are truly sort of aware, like in like a MMA situation, like people that are training, I like call like conscious combat training, where like example, like training with Khabib and all his brothers, like they've been training their whole life. They're gonna train their whole life. Like that's just, it's a lifestyle,
That's what they do.
Yeah, like training with wrestlers like Bunch, and, DC and all these guys. We push each other really hard. We might try to break each other and make fun of each other a little bit, but we know it's with the intention of making each other better as, combat athletes or as humans, and not actually about hurting each other and becoming like the better fighter than that person in that room. Like, like we know that there's still a team and a group mentality with wrestling, right? In wrestling, you always have the dual meet where we got the team, everyone got to work together. We want to win the dual meet. So even if you're banging heads with your training partner during training or whatever, you still want your guys to go out there and win no matter what. So there's still always that sense of support. And I feel like that's something that's kind of lost, unfortunately, in some gyms and in some martial arts communities. And, and it gets a little bit too competitive, where people are actually trying to beat each other up, trying to hurt each other, things getting taken to the streets, people fighting, and I've been in some of that stuff too. I'm not going to name names, but I will say that, literally ended up fist fighting, like almost fist fighting one of my training partners in the middle of a big commercial gym while there's public class going on, and they were going through a very hard time in their life, and I feel that we're kind of projecting things onto me. It's not always easy to be the littlest guy in the MMA team. I know you know how that is, right, Derrick? Not always be easy to be the littlest guy. I feel like sometimes you get picked on, but who knows? But anyway, just again, anger's no good. We talked about that before. Got to find a way to train and compete from a place of love, and that's what I was saying about healing. We need to be in a supportive environment, no matter if we're doing everything else. Having super toxic relationships can wear us out. And even though we try to pretend like they're not there, or we block it out, or convince ourselves we deserve it, that's the worst thing, actually, that anyone can do.
Fuck, dude. Hell yeah. I think just a personal story is like, over the weekend I had a therapy session, a marriage therapy session, and like one of the issues was like, long story short, without saying anything, was like, I came to the conclusion is that I want peace, but the more I try to keep peace, the more conflict, the more conflict, I was getting more conflict or more dis-peace in other places. And by me trying to keep peace was like not addressing certain conflicts at hand.
For sure. You have to understand this.
It's like, fuck.
There's always going to be the law of balance at play, right? So you get to have peace, but you don't get to have peace in every area of your life. And you get to have peace, but and like peace is actually one of the most healing, powerful energies. So it's awesome to have that. But again, you can't get attached to it unhealthily. If you get so attached to the peace. So for me, what I like to say an unhealthy relationship or an addiction is anything that will cause you or trigger you to move away from love, right? Even peace. I can be addicted to peace. Fuck you, love. Peace. Oh. But love sometimes needs some work, needs some maintenance. It gets dirty. You gotta clean it up, And that's the truth of it. So you've got to accept that if you want peace in one area, you're going to maybe have to have some imbalances in other areas. And you can try to bring that peace into the other area, but it's not necessarily you can't force it, right?
Yeah.
And an example I can think of, like from Jordan Peterson's recommendations, I think we were talking about it last time, maybe off recording, but he says to always have one perfect room in your house, right? And that might be that peace, right? You have that one perfect room, it makes me peaceful. And, not every room is going to be peaceful in that way, but maybe eventually it can kind of rub off, and everything can get more peaceful.
Yeah.
But that's what we have to just understand, that, you know, whether it's religion, whether it's politics, whatever it is, there's always going to be that balance of light and dark, peace and war. And that's just, you know, we have to be ready for all of it. And that's where, like, for me, I almost went into like, oh, I want to be peaceful guy. I don't want to be MMA guy anymore. You know, I want to master love as a religion and and I did do that. But there's certain things in my life and people around me that I had to stay connected with the war too. I couldn't stop being good at war because living in the Bay Area here, you never know who's going to test you.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Like,
so I'm like, dude, do I want to feel scared as the fucking Zen hippie dude? Like, or do I want to have a perfect or a balanced relationship with both, right? I will train mixed martial arts and be ready for war, but I will train and practice love and peace as well.
Yeah.
And I'll be the one that decides when I do what. You know? The universe is going to always give me opportunities to test me, like it's going to test you and JT and everybody.
Yeah.
But it's up to us to go, what do we want to be? How do we want to show up right now? We want to be unconditional love and say yes to everything?
Mm-hmm.
Do we want to go to war with this guy we don't even know? Maybe go to death with this guy we don't even know? Or, nah, I'm going to love him from a safe distance, let him put his shit onto somebody else, and I'll go over here and try to keep that good, loving energy, that peaceful energy, you know? Or do I think I can actually talk that guy down and create some peace over there? You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's the critical thinking and the dance that we all have to do. And I feel like, you know, at the end of the day, a lot of us young men and women out there that maybe didn't get raised with good role models, we don't have a correct sort of compass for like what right and wrong is.
True.
You know, like what is right and what is wrong. It's like
sometimes we just do what we've already seen done, and we thought that's the way.
For sure, we're creatures of conditioning.
So you have to like unlearn what we're doing.
Yeah, and yeah, that's the hard part, is to unlearn all the bad behaviors that we've learned, and to keep the good ones. And that's the trick, you know. And I think that's, you know, maybe what you're experiencing through your marriage. They say that you're gonna attract like that person that brings out in you what needs to grow, and it's up to you to kind of embrace that and actually try to grow, or deny it, repress it, fight it, argue about it, blah blah, break up, then you go repeat it with somebody else, and it goes over. Like for me, I look back at all my relationships, knowing what I know now, I'm like, holy fuck, I could have made it work with all of them if I knew then what I knew now. But that's not how life works. So you gotta take the lessons that you have, move forward, try to do better, and just keep moving forward and doing better, and then try to remember your lessons that you learned that you know are true, and don't just do what other people keep doing. Because there's just so many powers of conditioning just all the time. You know, the music you listen to, super powerful. You know, I didn't ever want to be some like I didn't want to be a typical MMA cage fighter. Back then it was called cage fighting. It wasn't like this MMA respectful sport as it is now. And it was like just cage fighting. Oh, they're this, they're that. They're just a bunch of alcohol drinking, you know, women abusing, like fighting, whatever. And granted, I never like physically abused women. I consider myself somebody who was a little bit angry at women, you know, got my heart broken. And then I was not faithful. So I wasn't faithful to women for a while, and then I became like exactly what I didn't want to become. And then I learned how it works through Paul Chek's teachings about the music, and how the negative, dark music will keep the conditioning going in your psyche, so you make it okay. And an example is like all the negative music that talks about, you know, going out drinking and cheating on your spouse, do whatever, sneak around, you know. Even like old school song, It's Tricky. That was like one of my favorite songs, you know. But again, it creates this negative thing. So you do something guilty, you feel negative about like, oh man, I'm not being faithful, I'm a fucking piece of shit. Like, God, I don't want to do that again. Like, why would I do that? Then you get in your car you know. Fucking the music is
Yeah,
just
listen.
everyone else is doing it, and then so you have this like a medicine that's like a negative, right? So when you have pain pills, they send a pain signal to the brain and it like cancels out. It cancels out the negative pain going on in the nervous system. But if you do that enough, then you can keep making whatever that pain is, that injury, way worse, right? So same thing with medicating through music or finding other people that do the same shit, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So then I'm upset, I'm gonna go get in the car and drive, listen to some good music. And of course it's not good music, it's just the medicine that ingrains it being okay. Oh, negative ass music here. Oh yeah, everybody does this shit. What you know, you don't even realize it.
So you're just you're ingraining all that into your subconscious,
For sure.
and it projects into your reality.
All that Too Short stuff, fucking everything, right? And then what really, you know, it took a long time for me to really wake up with a lot of things, but having sisters, they weren't like, I didn't have sisters around my whole life. They were my dad's kids or whatever, but I met them when I was like 15, I guess, and just like seeing that whole like high school thing in a different way, because now I had sisters and my friends were like, you know, talking about them or whatever. I'm like, oh fuck, what, like, goddamn, it's just different, you know. And then traveling around the world, honestly, seeing how women are treated in other countries. Like in America, it's pretty fucking awesome, to be honest. I mean, granted, women have, you know, their experiences, and it's not awesome completely. I know a lot of women in America that have been, you know, abused, assaulted, you know, fucking raped, etc. I mean, I got horror stories I've heard from ladies. I'm just like, what the fuck, like.
Yeah.
Somebody I know that they got kidnapped and tried to get forced into prostitution.
God damn.
Yeah, dude, just all kinds of crazy shit. Anyway, when Derrick's got 2 daughters. Derrick got 2 daughters over here. He's twitching.
Yeah, anyway.
But yeah, I got 2 sisters. I guess we don't talk about everything, but I got 2 nieces. You know, there's so many women around. I was raised by women. Like, now granted, I was raised by someone who's maybe a little bit abusive. I got smacked around a little bit. I think that's what happens. Men that were raised by dominating women who felt like they needed to dominate because they maybe had to raise a bunch of boys by themselves, like my mom did. She's a single mom raising 3 boys, so gotta do what you gotta do. And that was her conditioning. I remember we even got to talk about it, you know, and she's like, well, that's what everyone else does, you know. And granted, it wasn't, you know, I've heard worse stories, so we got ourselves in line, you know, it worked. But I think sometimes when it's out of balance and it's really bad, then what I learned from this book, The Body Bears the Burden, talks about dissociation and whiplash and how trauma reenactment is a thing, and men that are traumatized can oftentimes become the abuser again later. Now, women that are traumatized can oftentimes become the victim again later. And so I would say myself, I notice.
That's whiplash.
Combination of dissociation and whiplash.
Okay.
So specific injuries that a lot of people are having a really hard time working through, that I had time working through myself. The Body Bears the Burden, Trauma, Dissociation, and Disease by Robert C. Scar, M.D. And
Put it over here. There we go.
And like, I'm gonna read the back right here. It says, I'm just gonna read everything on the back just for fun. Psychotherapy, mental health and psychology, social work, and human services. Why does my neck hurt? Or why does my neck still ache so much? The accident was months ago. My doctor thinks I'm crazy or lazy or faking it. What's wrong with me? Ever since my daughter was killed, I can't concentrate. I feel like I have been brain damaged. What's wrong with me? What's wrong is that the physical traumas and emotional traumas are powerfully interrelated. This book identifies the ways that the helplessness and terror of sudden trauma induces changes in the brain function and the resulting consequences these changes can have on muscle, digestion, blood pressure, and many other bodily systems. The Body Bears the Burden offers new hope to anyone suffering from whiplash, post-traumatic stress disorder, or a history of abuse. It even provides ways to cope with new traumas to minimize the emotional and physical damage. Remarkable. provides clinical relevant descriptions of the mind-body dysfunctions of both the central and autonomic nervous systems of traumatized patients. Even more than a comprehensive overview, the author presents an integrated neuropsychobiological model of the underlying mechanisms of trauma pathology, which he demonstrates in numerous case histories and applies to various trauma therapies. A creative, cutting-edge work. There's another excerpt from another professional here talking about how awesome this book is, but I'm not going to read that. So I think that's enough. I think that's enough of how powerful this information is. And this is like, it's kind of clinical information. It's hard to digest. And there's a lot of notes, as you can see. And I had to look up a lot of words. And but yeah, it talks about this. So from this, I would say for myself personally, smoking a lot of weed can get me into a real feminine state.
Uh-huh.
And I notice I might allow myself to be abused if I get too feminine.
Mm-hmm.
But if I get too masculine and too angry, I might allow myself to become the abuser again. So it's not just based on this book. It says typically the male or the female does this one thing. But as I know now, we are both, we individually have both the feminine and masculine energies. And we can become out of balance there as well. So the females that become out of balance, I believe, can become the abusers. And the men that become out of balance, too feminine, can become the abused and the victim again. And again, we all have to find the balance. We're always going to be challenged.
Damn. I think Jordan Peterson calls that, chaos? Like, controlling the chaos.
You're right.
You can't, like, the yin and yang.
Yeah, there's chaos.
Like, that's the chaos, and it's never going to be this.
It's never flat. Yeah, the line's like this.
You gotta control the in-between.
Yeah.
That energy. It's just
it's like being on a log on the water that's moving. You gotta try to keep that log still. You gotta balance, Then it starts going off fast. You're like, oh shit, slow it down, But yeah, that's the tides of life, the tides of the ocean, like you said, the chaos that's going on inside of us.
Uh-huh.
And the more chaos there is, the harder and more turbulent the ocean is, the harder it can be to manage ourselves, And a lot of people just have to start the process. Start the process of working on trying to manage yourself. Start journaling down your thoughts, your emotions, your feelings. That will help you get back into your body. When you, I think last time we talked about it, like coaching, get out of your head and your body, right? That's what this book talks about. If you get back into your body and your breath, and that's the way we can heal. Different movement practices like martial arts or whatever. It may need to be something really easy like Tai Chi to work yourself back up. Maybe physical touch like martial arts. Fuck that. That's trauma again, So we got to shake it out. Do Tai Chi or yoga, whatever. Something that's just more fluid or running. You see a lot of people working out their trauma through running. But they don't realize it because that running compresses whiplash. Re-traumatizing themselves.
Damn.
Mm-hmm. So this talks about re-traumatization and how it's hard to heal if we're re-traumatizing and constantly just putting ourselves again into that chaos.
Mm-hmm. It's
hard to find that peace. So I guess that matches up with this book, right? So if we don't have those, if we don't have, and that's the truth, man. The truth shall be timeless and will cross all borders. There's some facts that are marketed to us that aren't truth. Right? I learned this in my critical thinking class back in 2003. That
shit, I was like, what, a sophomore?
What's that?
I was thinking like 2003. I was probably like, what, a sophomore, junior in high school.
What, you try to make me feel old?
No, I'm just like...
It feels like hell long ago,
huh? 2003, yeah.
Yeah, dude, that feels like so long ago now, because 17 years in the modern 2000 era is like 30 years, or like 1,000 years. So much has happened since then, right?
That's true.
7.
Yeah. So look, yeah, right? So like, damn, JT, I feel old now. Fuck. Oh, man. Anyway, critical thinking class. She taught us that there were 7 corporations that controlled all the media. And it's the same today. There might be more corporations. There might be more layers. But it all goes back to a simple number of like 7. There's just these major corporations. And I've been involved with different corporations, and I know how it works. They layer. So if I have one corporation, my one corporation can start another corporation. We got LLCs on top of LLCs on top of LLCs. And the reason, unfortunately, that people have to do this is because the business world is really crazy and backstabby. And they'll try to figure out who owns what companies, so that way they make sure that no one's getting ahead of them. In the capitalist society, it's really cutthroat, straight like in like tribal society. The capitalist American mentality is my competitor has to die. And if you look at MMA and you look at the UFC, they conquered and killed all their competitors. They literally bought them and put them under. And not in like I have to outcompete you, kill you. No, whatever. They don't. It's like it doesn't matter how you die. You just have to die. Like I will, and it's like I'll love you to death, no problem. I'll buy you out. I'll pay whatever rate you want, just so I can make sure I have no competition. And that's the intellectual world we live in now, where it's not okay just to go drop a bomb on your competitor's company. It's not okay just to go rape and pillage the town anymore. But you can become so successful that you can just buy them out and then cancel them out.
Damn.
Right? Oh, now you don't have to buy them out to cancel them out anymore. You can just hurt their reputation. That's the new trick. Right?
It's like the cancel culture.
Yeah, everyone they just do cancel culture. You know what's fucked up? Or what I realized? You know where cancel culture started?
Where?
Right here in the Bay Area. Berkeley hippies.
What?
Yeah. Now, don't quote me on this. Maybe I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments or whatever. But I'm pretty sure it started with like the Vietnam War, trying to cancel out all that bullshit. Or whatever it might be. Pretty sure that's how cancel culture started. It was in Berkeley. Everybody trying to cancel out the cultures that they didn't think were proper or appropriate. The war culture, And it's ironic because I've been listening to this awesome podcast from Jocko, and a Vietnam veteran. And my grandfather served in Vietnam, and my dad told me some stories that he told him about PTSD and stuff. And it sucks that those troops had to come back and not feel support. That actually happened. And I guess I don't want to go too much into that, but I want to stay focused on this cancel culture and why I believe it's so powerful and why I believe other people support it so much. I think it's because people have been canceled out in their youth. People are using it as medicine, like I talked about with the music. They're using it as a way to medicate and sort of keep their self going, if you will. So let's just take it way back. Let's say a little kid had a bad experience, or let's just say a kid even had maybe been molested by a family member or something terrible. And they're having a hard time expressing it, but they're trying to express it to somebody. And they get told or influenced or conditioned that it's not happening. What they're saying is not happening. Or what they're saying is possibly not possibly true. That person wouldn't do that. Right? So they get conditioned to deny and repress what the fuck they're really going through. Now, layer on years and years and years of life. Layer on them actually talking to other people and hearing the same thing. Oh man, you got told that too? That happened to you? Fuck. I guess we'll just keep it quiet. I guess we'll just keep this life going the way it is. They find ways to cope and just numb and deny and repress. Then they feel that if it happened to them, why shouldn't it happen to other people? Alright? If I have to deny and repress my shit, no one's going to listen to me. Well then, let's deny and repress other people. And they're going to justify it. That anger that's deep down inside, they don't realize it boils up and justifies it. Yeah. So if you're canceling something out, don't cancel anything out of anger. Like, nothing should be canceled out. Like, why? And so again, I feel like if you're part of some cancel culture or you want to cancel any culture, ask yourself why. And what are you denying and repressing? What are you canceling out in yourself? You know, I think a lot of people, they don't feel that. And like, let's take another angle. Maybe you haven't had something that horrific happen. Let's just say you don't think that you're able to accomplish your hopes and dreams. You think that your dream is impossible. So you've canceled out your hope and your dream. Whether it be being a professional MMA fighter, being a famous musician, I don't know what it is. You've canceled it out.
Mm-hmm.
Society's convinced you just to get a 9 to 5, get a family, do the right thing. So, again, you deny and repress, so we deny and repress other people. So, cancel them out. Hell yeah, cancel them out. I didn't get to be a professional baseball player. Fuck, let's cancel these fuckers out. Why should they get to do anything? Why should they get to do their crazy culture that's pissing everybody off? I couldn't even be a professional baseball player.
Damn. Sounds like a hater.
Right? It does sound like a hater. Yeah. It does sound like a hater. And you know what I like to say about haters? If you don't have any haters, maybe you're not doing the right thing. If you got some haters, maybe you're doing something right. And that's the hard part, is just to love those haters through their hate. Hopefully they can find things that they can love too. Learn to use people as motivation. Don't be hating on them. Don't have the FOMO. Back in the day, I heard about FOMO. I'm like, what is this? And I'm like, that's called motivation. We don't have FOMO. We have motivation. Right? So try to use people's life as motivation. Understand this. If anybody can do anything,
dude, you can do it. You can fucking do it.
There you go. That's it. And it's funny because the podcast that I'm just talking about with, can you hear my phone there, JT?
With Jocko?
Yeah, there's Jocko and this other guy. I want to say this other guy's name because he's apparently I don't want to say apparently something. He is a savage and apparently a hero of his time. Nicknamed the Hulk, Admiral Thomas, who I think he lost a piece of his finger in this crazy situation. But long story short, in Vietnam, he saved, I believe, 3 or 4 wounded soldiers running back and forth into fire, into enemy battle, and dragging them back out, getting them to the helicopter back to safety.
Damn.
Not even thinking about his life or thinking about himself. And ended up getting his finger, I think, shot during that or whatever. But yeah, he's just one of those legends in those times. And, you know, if you have family members that have been through stuff, what are you saying?
No, I was like, man, that's incredible. Like,
yeah, and the weights that this motherfucker has moved, that's what's incredible. These guys talk about the weights they move, incredible. That's why they call him the Hulk. He was like, you know, only 200 and something pounds, like 240 pounds, but I think he, one point, benched like 600, you know, squatting and deadlifting over 500, like, and that's why he believes he was able to do that. He said adrenaline ain't shit. Adrenaline might help one scrawny kid drag one person to safety.
But training
and putting all that mass on, that's what allowed him to go back and forth and drag those guys out over and over and over. And that's why it's important to be strong and healthy as an individual, as a human, as a person, just for your life, for emergency situations in case you need it. You know, everybody just wants to get strong for the beach. Like, what the fuck are you going to do at the beach? You ain't going to swim in the ocean if there's a shark. Fuck, you ain't going to wait for the lifeguard. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you going to do at the beach? Like, you just going to look good? Like, you want to fight at the beach? Man, get sand in your eye, man. Like, come on. But, yeah. So, yeah, it's, that's what I was going to touch on. I think it's important to look at things, you know, and see what other people have gone through. Like, hearing about what these guys go through and gone through in Vietnam, like, why would I want to cancel that person out? And even if we don't support the government's decisions, we have to support the people that are over there. And just like this guy was saying, he said for PTSD, he wants to take out the D. It's not a disorder. It's post-traumatic stress. It's a real thing. We've gone through real shit. Everybody in the Bay Area has seen some crazy things. Like, everybody now in life has seen crazy things. They've seen it on Instagram. They've seen it on Facebook. They've seen it, like, I witnessed some shit on Facebook I never thought I would witness because I thought it was fake. And that was somebody getting their head removed by a very small razor blade. And I'm not going to go into more detail, but it was not pretty to watch, but I had to watch it because I thought it was fake.
Damn.
And I almost joined like the ICE like immigration shit. I almost joined the military. You know what I mean? Like it was motivating. Like I'm like, there's people out there like that. And here's the truth that I'm gonna tell you. Whether you think it's real or not, anything you even see in movies, everything is real. Everything is happening somewhere, and or is going to happen at some time. Whether it be the alien shit you see in movies, maybe it's gonna happen thousands of years from now. Whether it be old savagery, people just raping and pillaging, that's happening in a village right now somewhere. So, don't escape in your movies. Be careful. Everything is real. So again, you might be numbing it, right? You hear about the tragedies going on in the world, you might be numbing yourself and medicating by watching other movies and convincing yourself, it's just a movie. It's just a movie. No, man, it's real life. So it's important to have entertainment and have fun. You know, if your movies bring you peace, have your balance, you know. Got to have that peace like Derrick was talking about. But you got to have some things that, you know, that I dare say make you a little uncomfortable because they help you grow. And there's a thing called eustress, useful stress. Right? That's what all the medical books, they all talk about. There is eustress. This useful stress helps us grow. But there's also distress or dis-ease, right? Distress is not good. And we all have our own thresholds with it. That's why we have to learn to respect each other's boundaries with our thresholds. We don't have to respect each other's boundaries with our words. I don't think that's a little bit ridiculous. But we have to respect each other's boundaries when it comes to pushing each other to try to grow all the time, right? Come on, man, let's fucking suck it up. Deal with that shit. Let's talk about it. You know, like, maybe they're codependent, right? They want to force you to talk about your shit. They can hear some shit. It helps them with their shit. Everybody at the bar just talking about shit, not doing shit. You know, I've been there. I know. I'm talking shit because I've been there. I used to be there talking shit at the bar, drinking too. But now I don't. So try to take action and, you know, be the change we wish to see in the world. Help coach people, help coach coaches, help share the information that I've learned that is true. That we can heal and accomplish amazing things, even the things that we think are impossible. And I think that's how we got on this, right? You gotta chase those goals and dreams that you think are impossible.
Yeah.
So for me right now, my dream that I'm chasing that I thought was impossible was having my own kid, having a happy, healthy family, and yeah, I think that's it. That's the simple dream that I'm chasing right now. Because at one point in my life, I actually committed to a woman who couldn't have kids. I was committed to like maybe we'll adopt one day and whatever. Like, you know, I'd convinced myself like, fuck, dude, like I'm not gonna do the right thing. I'm not gonna do the right thing and have a kid. But yeah, now I can do the right thing. You know, I'm the life happened the way it did. I'm not with that person or whatever anymore. It's like, so yeah, and sometimes I think that's something I woke up to not too long ago, but just in general, you know, take some time to reflect like I did over the winter, and there's things that maybe you have put off and told yourself that you can't have or do that later. Mm-hmm. But there is no later. Like your life is happening right now. Like, you gotta do things now. So start, even if it's one thing a day, like just move in that direction. Like, and for me, creating a holistic, you know, business and all that, that's what I felt would allow me to have a happy, healthy family and be able to make enough money to not be able to be stressed out doing the 9 to 5 to like be the, you know, detached father who's just, you know, bills are paid, lights are on, food's on the table, fucking shut up, you know, like I don't want to keep that cycle going, so I want to break that cycle. That was my view. If I can do holistic stuff, help people heal from crazy hard things like in some of these books that people are going through, and you know, unfortunately it's going to cost, you know, a good penny. I think a lot of people are willing to pay a lot for their health, and at the same time my soul does feel like I want to help other people too, like doing this podcast, sharing the information, sharing these books. You guys can get these books and do this stuff yourself. You don't actually need the person. You just need the information, and you need to take the action. And that's where you build the trust within yourself. Yeah. And you can become a real leader on your own, which is hard, you know. And that talks about in that podcast with Jocko and that Admiral, where, you know, getting out and doing shit on your own. That's fucking hard.
It's like you're creating your own path.
Yeah, being willing to like take on those tough challenges, that useful stress. There was one incident where he talked about some base where the commander that was there got killed in action. And he knew the guy, whatever, and guy got killed in action. He signed up to replace him. He wants to go. He says, and like the coolest thing he says, he goes, we are in the teams, who I am and Jocko and what we are. He goes, we're the guy, in case of war, break glass. You know? We're that guy, he said. You know, and that was the broken glass, you know, the war. Like, shit, someone died, break the glass, send me. Like, put me in, coach. Like, I'm that guy.
He's ready.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people are, and it's not that he was ready to be a sacrifice. You know, I think a lot of people now they're ready to be a sacrifice. Mm-hmm. You know, I think we talked about last time, like the old Jesus, like, sacrificial lamb. Like, no, don't be ready to be a sacrifice. He was ready to go make change. He's ready to be a Hulk. He's ready. Yeah, he's ready to get it done. Like the championship mentality.
Yeah.
Like, oh, they didn't get it done. I'm gonna get it done. Right. And so it's a different mentality. You know, I think again the music. Right. Everybody thinks it's cool I'm willing to die for somebody. I'm willing to do that. No. How about this? What are you willing to live for? What are you willing to thrive for? What are you willing to work hard for? Not what are you willing to die for. Because if you die, you're gone.
Yeah.
You're a martyr. You're gone. What else can you do with your life?
Yeah.
You know, you can't connect with anybody now. You can't do anything else, right? Yeah. So it sounds cool. I'm ready to die. I'm ready to die on this hill. Like, well, make sure it's a really important hill, you know, to die on. So, I like to say, what are you willing to live for? And I'm willing to live for a happy, healthy family. I'm willing to live for helping other people, share the information who can help other people healthy and live more and just make the world a better place. I'm not about just going down that dark path anymore, you know. That's where, you know, shadow work can help. You know, working on the darkness, the shadow. And I dare say, your shadow is basically what comes up when you start drinking. So that's it right there. You want to know your shadow? Just whoever you think you are when you're drinking, that's your shadow. And you need to integrate it. Don't deny it completely. You got to integrate it. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I gotta get going, man.
Well, yeah, it's definitely good stuff. Good talk.
That was.
And it's good to see you again.
Same here, brother.
And we'll keep this rolling. Keep this going. Everybody out there, peace, love, happy healing. Useful stress is good. Toxic stress is no good.